Many years ago, I was asked to give a talk in the southern US, and my husband, Michael, who had never been, decided to come along. Well, as our plane landed in the warm southern breezes, we couldn't help but to imagine the river of sweet tea and southern hospitality that would await us. Little did we know our adventure was about to take a sharp turn. We headed to the taxi stand and were directed to a cab, and as we approached, we were laughing and smiling, excited for this new adventure. And as we approached, the cab driver took one look at us, me, a white woman, and Michael, a black man, and told us to find another cab. Surprised, I said, "But why? We were just directed to you." And he responded with, "You're not welcome in my cab." The reason was unspoken, but his words were crystal clear. I wish I could say differently, but I stood there with my mouth open. All of the words I imagined saying in a moment like that escaped me. But Michael was a lot more seasoned to this type of thing, and he said, "Are you not taking us because I'm black?" The cab driver looked at him with a smile on his face and said, "You are not getting into my cab. Find another one." I found my voice and I marched back to the taxi stand, and in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear, I said, "Your cab driver won't take us because my husband is black." He shrugged. You know what I would remember most about that moment? It wasn't just the words of the cab driver. It wasn't the look of sadness and anger and humiliation in Michael's face. It was the feeling of total helplessness when I looked at the all-white crowd who were waiting for their cabs. I was hoping to make eye contact with someone, anyone who could offer help or at least a human connection. And every single one of them diverted their eyes to the floor, to their phones, to anything but the uncomfortable situation in front of them. It was easier for them to look away so they could go on with their day. I will never forget that moment. But life goes on. 2 years later, Michael and I would have our beautiful son, Anderson. 6 emotional failed fertility attempts, and we finally had our miracle baby. I love that boy more than anything in the world. And to this day, I go into his room every night and I watch his chest rise and fall as he sleeps. And I think to myself, I will do everything in my power to make sure that he has the best life possible. But as he gets older, I realize how challenging that will be. He said things to me like, "Mommy, why does everybody touch my hair?" We've had friends of the family who have said, "You are going to be an amazing basketball superstar when you grow up," even though he's never played a game in his 11 years. It is a constant reminder that many people don't see the incredible boy who will hold open a door for everybody leaving a store, or the boy who will give away all of his treats to his friends even if it means he doesn't get any himself. They only see the shell. I wish that I could blissfully celebrate my son's milestones, like many of you in this room who look like me. But as a mother of a half-black son, with every growth milestone comes the worry of what's next, and the decision of whether or not to shatter my son's innocence to prepare him for the inevitable days that he will experience racism, or just let him be a child. Well, one of those days came a few months ago when my son was playing on the playground at school, and a child ran up to him and said, You're a monkey, and I hate brown people." My son stood in the exact same position his father had just 12 years before. What's very sad about this moment is that Michael would unexpectedly pass away just months before he could help his son through this milestone. But instead of silence, my son's best friend who was standing beside him said, "Hey, that's not okay." And another kid helped him to tell the principal, and many more rallied around him in support. Silence was replaced by a powerful chorus of solidarity. I share this story with you because I have no choice but to care about racism because my son's life depends on it. I want all of you in this room to care even if you don't have to, and to speak up. Because an army of black voices isn't enough to drown out the silence of apathy. Silence ends where your voice begins and you say, hey, that's not okay. Thank you. Thank you.